Hey guys, how's it going? OSCO here, back with another video. Sorry I've not uploaded in a really long time for a dedicated tutorial, but I don't think I've covered this in as much detail as I think it needs to be covered in. And I've found a few tutorials online about sidechaining, but I think that there's a need for a more concise one and a more definitive answer to how you should be sidechaining. The ones that are out there that are short and sweet, aren't as concise, won't explain the things I'm going to explain in this video. I hope you find this useful, and I hope that you're going to be changing the way that you guys sidechain. Yeah, I think that the ways that people have explained before aren't the best way to sidechain. I wouldn't say it's totally wrong, but I think it's not the right way to sidechain. So I created a kick in Kick 2. You can hear it here. I rendered it out, just here. Gave it a little bit more level. Now, the sub, let me take off the sidechain that I've got on here at the minute. You can hear it's just a real simple, if we zoom right in, with this, this is a Sidescope Pro, just a oscilloscope. You can see here that it's just a simple sub, simple sine wave. What I've done before the tutorial is I've made sure that they're perfectly in phase. So if I play them both together, and we open Sidescope, you can see they are totally in phase, pretty much. Yeah, if we just solo that. Got the kick there, got the sub there. Together they do that. So what you can see is, because they are perfectly in phase, when you play two sounds together which are the same frequency, you're going to get an increase in amplitude, which you can see here. So this increase in amplitude isn't what we're going to want when we're pushing the track through limiters, because this bump, with low end energy especially, that's going to hit the limiter before the transient, and it's going to create low frequency issues, and we're going to be clipping that and essentially turning that into a square wave, which isn't exactly what we want if we want a clean sine. So we use things called like sidechain to eliminate these problems, to try and create a little bit more space so that we can push them into the limiter a little bit harder and have a louder overall sound. What I'm going to do is show you a few different techniques to sidechain using different compressors, and then I'm going to show you my way of sidechaining. Let's load up a compressor, and we're also going to grab actually, let's start off with the compressor. So we're going to take this compressor. So yeah, we've got our kick and we've got our bass. Now we're going to sidechain this from our kick. So wrong one, this one. So you can see if we swap over to this view, we can see that that's taking a sidechain input from our kick over here to our bass, and I've got this compression group on our, on the bass group. Nothing going on here. Take these off. Have a look at the. We can still see that that's doing its thing over here on this kick. So within this, we can see that we've got an increase in amplitude, which is what we're trying to avoid. So let's jump in and start sidechaining. So what most people will do is just bring down the threshold until we get a dip. Now, what's happened here is we've got something called bow tying. So, you can see it sort of resembles a bow tie, and we don't want that, because now we're losing energy from the sub. We're allowing the kick to come through, but then maybe what I'll do is bring this down a little bit. I turn this compressor off. Right, so I think the kick and the sub are about the same, but when we turn the compressor off, we're getting an increase in amplitude, which is what we don't want. So maybe let's try bringing down the release. You can hear that this compressor is introducing some kind of some sort of artifacts when we do that, when we put a tight release on it, and we're still getting that bow tying effect even with the release down all the way, and we bring the attack down as well. It's going to increase these artifacts. Now, Slink in his tutorial explained this really well. Well, he didn't explain it really well, but he noted this out really well. And if you don't know who Slink is, go check out his channel. He's a really sick producer, glitch hop producer, and he did a definitive how to sidechain video. I think everyone who's in electronic music has probably seen that video. We can play about with the ratio, but we've still got this bow tying going on. And then if we put the ratio all the way down, we're not getting any compression whatsoever. And when we increase that, we're bringing down the overall amplitude, but we're increasing this bow tying effect, and we're also introducing more of these artifacts. So we don't want that, because that's going to mess with our sound, clearly. You can hear it, doesn't sound very good. What he says to use is the Live 8 compressor. We'll get rid of that. So take the input from the kick, and similar issue as before. So we've got this bow tying effect, increase the release. So we're getting less of those artifacts, which is great. There's still something going on here, there's still a bit of bow tying, not ideal. But with a little bit of tweaking, you know, we can get a pretty desirable result from that. We're still getting that increase in volume, but it's a much nicer sound, and without the sidechain, you know, we have created space and we've brought down that volume to a much more desirable level. Now, this is one way to sidechain. It definitely achieves the result of allowing more space in the low end, but we're still getting this bump and we're still getting a bit of bow tying. You know, it's definitely a lot better than what it was before, but still not ideal. But we've still got this bow tying, and we've still got the increase in amplitude here. Another thing that you can do is sidechain it to a click. I've got a click track up here, which is just some noise. You can see that. So if we bring this over here, we can see, compared to the kick, where it's a much bigger dip, the click just allows the click to come through. So it's really short. So let's bring up this ratio, and then maybe bring up the release. So we've brought down that thing, but we're also, you know, we've got bow tying going on. So that's not too bad, as you can see there. That's pretty close. So sidechaining to a click gets you a good way there. The sub is sitting at minus 8.4 dB, minus 8.5, and this is minus 6.73. So we've got about, I don't know, maybe 2 dB of difference, which doesn't sound like a lot. What you need to understand is that decibels is what's the word? It's an exponential way of measuring audio. So I think so minus 4 dB to minus 8 dB is actually twice as quiet. So, you know, 2 dB is actually quite a bit. It's quite noticeable, you know, and that's going to stop us from being able to achieve our peak loudness with the sound. We can play about with the levels of the kick and the snare, kick and the bass, but the bass is already at minus 6 dB and this is already at minus 2. So we can try and bring that down. But now our transient's quite quiet compared to this point here. And if we zoom in here, we can see that our transient is almost as loud as the kick. Not ideal. We can see that that is really quiet compared to this bump here, and that's not what we want. So how can we mitigate this? As much as like dealing with a click from Sidechain on the Live 8 compressor is a much cleaner result than what we got from the Live 9 and 10 compressor, I believe that this is the way to Sidechain. Hey, OSCO from the future here. Just wanted to point out that I've just got a track up on my SoundCloud, Red. Probably one of the best tracks I've written to date, subject to opinion. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know that it's out there. You can go stream it now, listen to it on SoundCloud now. It'll be released on Friday on Bandcamp if you guys want to download it. I'll be working about getting it up on Spotify and things like that. I'm trying to find a distributor at the moment to get my music up there. Another thing I wanted to point out really quickly is that I've changed around some tiers on the Patreon. So the supporting Patreon now, you get early access to the YouTube videos. So if you just want to support the channel, you know, you don't want the extra content or the VIP where you're getting private lessons from me, you can just sign up on the lower tier and you get early access to the videos. You get all of my songs that I make from this point moving forwards. So Dread is now up there for free download, and all the, you know, I'll try and put up a track a month. I'm going to aim for that. It might not land every time because of other commitments like university and stuff, but I'll try. And the extra content Patreon is going to be extra videos, so track breakdowns. I'll be doing a track breakdown of Dread as well, so if you want to go listen to that, if you want to know how I break that down, that'll be where you can go and find that. And then the VIP Patreon is just for the lessons, so I've narrowed it down. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to drop me an email, add me on Instagram. You know, my stream times are just over there on the other side of the screen, so yeah. Without further ado, I'll just get into the video. Have a good one, guys. Peace. By using volume shapers. Let's set this to default. so that you guys can see what it looks like, and then we're going to set it up so that it allows space for this kick. So this is duck. Let's make this smaller. If we look at our scope again and zoom right in, we can see we've got crazy bow tying because of the way that this is set up. Now, what a volume shaper does is, well, what this volume shaper does is based on an LFO. Basically, if you're familiar with Serum, it runs on an LFO that is just rolling. And you can see that that's just running. Now, what we can do with this plugin duck is we can select the sidechain input, and we can select the input from the kick. We can take this directly from our kick. We don't have to set up an external click channel, and we can set the trigger level here. So we can see that this white line that's appearing over this orange dial here is our trigger input. And now we can select a higher speed. And look at that. Just by selecting a higher speed on this, we allow a perfect amount of time for this kick to hit. The bass will totally duck out of the way, hence the name, duck. And it's perfect. You know, the difference in level between the kick and the bass is, we're talking about a 0.3 discrepancy in loudness. This is going to be much more friendly to our basses when we push them through limiters, and when we're trying to really get some loudness out of our tracks. The limiter's not going to clip off that extra bit of gain that comes through from having even frequencies. People often ask me how I get my drums to slap and how I get my bass to sit the way it does, and have this coherent sound. This is the technique that I use to get that. There are ways you can go about changing this. So like normally what I would do is change it to this shape, and then I would turn smoothing down, pull this back to the start, maybe change the shape so it comes down a little bit tighter. And what I'm doing when I'm shaping this is I'm looking at the little grey line over here, because this can get a little bit messy and fiddly when you get real close and tight. And then what you can do is shape this so that it evens out nicer over time. We've got some bow tying going on there, so we can just even that out a little bit. Now we have a little bit of bow tying there. Maybe this one had a cleaner result if we turn the smoothing up. Yeah, so no bow tying. Because the kick is totally in phase, we've got a really nice sounding kick. But if I was using a sample that wasn't totally in phase, I'd probably opt for this approach where I'm, turning the smoothing down and trying to even it out like that. Why am I doing that? Why am I turning the smoothing down? What smoothing is doing is basically taking these points. So like this is an aggressive cut from 0 dB to negative infinite dB really quickly. So you can see that this is just going straight down from point to point at the when it's triggered. And this does create some artifacts. I don't think that's going to be a major issue. You can hear that it's pretty clean. And compared to the Live 8 compressor, we'll show you that again. Pop this over here, turn this group off, set that to the sidechain input of the click. So we're trying to get the cleanest response out of this. So we're still getting that increase in gain, which is not what we want. Let's try and bring that down, and then when we do bring it down to a more desirable level for the kick, we're getting bow tying. So then let's turn this back on. And it's just, it's such a minor difference. Like if you don't want to be, you can totally get away without, by using the Live 8 compressor with the sidechain technique. But what makes this plugin duck so great is the fact that I don't need the click. I can delete that click trigger. It's still going to do it. It's literally running off the sidechain input from the kick, which means one less channel to worry about in your project, one less thing you'd have to worry about setting up. And I use this plugin in every single project, and I have done for the past year. And it's allowed my sidechain setup to be a hell of a lot cleaner. And when you get your kicks in perfect phase with your subs, you just have a really cohesive sound that sounds really great. And then when you're running tracks through a limiter, when we are slamming it, you can see what's going on. I turn that off. You can see that now. So if I run that into a limiter and press it, we can go back to this bass, turn that back on. You can see it's just making the limiter work less hard. Still getting the same volume, but it just means that we're not pushing it in too heavy. Yeah, and ideally we want to be working the limiter as little as possible. We don't want that to be ducking too much, and we want to be able to get as much gain out of that as we can. And if I turn this off, and I turn this right down, yeah, and then we turn this off, we can just see that we're getting about 3 dB of headroom from that, which means that other things in our mix can come up louder. Maybe this isn't enough for you to consider changing the way that you sidechain, but for me, gaining that headroom is really important for allowing me to push other sounds like mids and tops and hats just louder in the mix, and gaining that perceived loudness and more headroom usually means a cleaner mix. Your mastering engineer will thank you. Whoever you send your track off to will appreciate it more. When you play it out, it'll sound tighter. I think people should be using volume shapers over the traditional sidechain with a compressor method. I haven't tried other compressors, maybe other compressors are faster, but this just seems like a much cleaner result using duck. So I hope this video has been useful for you guys. Maybe I've given you food for thought to think about the way that you're sidechaining in your tracks. Yeah, if you want to catch me live streaming, you can see it just up there to the right of the screen. There's I'm streaming every Monday, Wednesday, Friday evening, 9 PM GMT. So it's a lot less serious than what these videos are. These videos are strictly for informative use only. The streams are just me and my housemates usually messing about, making tunes and sort of taking the piss. Yeah, in the last one I shaved my head and made a 160 tune, and made dubstep tunes and D&B tunes and stuff. So if you haven't seen those streams, go check them out. You get to see all my techniques and the way that I do things. Consider checking out the Patreon, links in the description if you want to support me in the channel. I do private one-to-one lessons with people on there as well, so go check out the prices and stuff and how that works down there. Hopefully there'll be more videos from me in the near future. It's going to be difficult because I've got uni deadlines coming up. I will try and fit in videos here and there where I can. It's now currently, what time is it now? 3:30 in the morning. So, dedicated, being up right now, doing this. I have to be up at 9 AM as well, which is fantastic. If you don't want to miss one of my streams, follow me on Twitter. I post a tweet every time I'm streaming. If you want to see more updates about me and what my work as an artist, go follow me on SoundCloud and Instagram. You'll be able to see when I'm releasing new stuff. Putting out new clips on my SoundCloud every Sunday until the end of the year. I've got a new one uploaded just now, last Sunday, and who knows, maybe some of those clips will be released on the next Bandcamp day. I think that's it for this video, guys. Hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.